to see and enjoy. My dear students and media friends, as you know, we are celebrating this International Museum Day, which happens to be on 18th of May. We started this celebration today itself, so we are celebrating it for 3 days. Now this day, International Museum Day, was initiated in the year 1977 by ICOM. ICOM is the International Council of Museums, and this was set up on 18th of May in the year 1946. And then, since then, worldwide museum, they come together to share their knowledge with each other, and more than 5,000 such museums are the members of this ICOM, and every year we celebrate this day. I am happy to announce that once upon a time, from 1998 to 2000, then director of Nehru Science Center, Mumbai, which I was the part of, Dr. Ratan Mohan Chakravarti, who was also the Deputy Director General of National Council of Science Museum, which is the parent body of this center, was a chairman of ICOM Asia, and he used to pass on the message of the museums to the world community. And this day basically encourages us to learn many things from our past. As it is rightly said, museums are not only the buildings, but they are the temple of knowledges. And one of the great person who is known as a Frank Oppenheimer, and he was the younger brother of Robert Oppenheimer. You must be knowing Robert Oppenheimer. He was the director of Manhattan Project. That project was to make her first nuclear bomb in 1942 to 1946. That project was there. So this fellow, Frank Oppenheimer, he was a particle physicist, and he was having fun to teach physics to the people. He was also working on enrichment of uranium for the nuclear project. Then somehow, I don't know what happened, the community or the world community banned him to teach from the school level to the colleges. So he was having a fun to teach to the people. So he started sitting at home, he started developing several models, using which he was able to teach physics to the people. And those models, handmade models, then he displayed in one of the great museums, now we call it as Exploratorium, that was existed in San Francisco. And he has also developed and written the books how to make these models, what should be the mechanism, what should be the size, and how to make these models to working models, that we can say. And that book became, which is known as Exploratorium Cookbook, which is the base for all science centers across the world. You see many of the exhibits in our science park, and those are basically some or other impressions they carry forward from those Exploratorium cookbooks. So many such museums evolved after that Exploratorium across the world, explaining science to the people through museums. And once he said, museums are not for the tourists. Museums are not for the tourists, but they are to inspire people. So it is expected when people come to such museums, they should see the exhibits thoroughly. They should try to know the stories behind them, and they should get inspired to do the similar things for the betterment of society. And with this, I once again extend my welcome to all of you to this occasion, and I hope the people of Goa will visit this exhibition in large numbers and they will have a lot of information from this collection. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Without wasting any time, the topic for today's popular talk is History and Heritage of Goa from Ancient Times to 2019. And the resource person is Dr. Prajal Sakhardande. Before we'll go further, let me give the brief introduction about the sir. Dr. Prajal Sakhardande, historian and heritage activist and the author of Goa and published several books. He is a co-founder member of Goa Heritage Action Group, Goa's first heritage NGO, fighting for the preservation of Goa's historical, natural and cultural heritage, anchored the YouTube channel, recipient of the international, national and local awards for the preservation of historical and natural heritage, presented papers on the history and heritage at the international, national and state seminars, anchored script a 13-part series on Doordarshan titled Goicho Itihas in 2002, and in 2003 he has won a prestigious West Zonal Puraskar for it. Also wrote the columns on the history and heritage of Goa in various newspapers, successfully campaigned and saved the heritage and the historical monuments of Goa, worked as a resource person for the several international, national and state webinars, local history seminar, felicitated by the several organizations with the citation and awards, recipient of the International Herald Global Award for the preservation of history, heritage, environment and the authorship of history books in 2025. With this, now I request Dr. Vasu Usapkar, the Director of Directorate of Museum, to kindly escort the resource person on the stage. I also request sir to welcome the resource person with the potted plant. Thank you very much, sir. And without wasting any time, let us invite Shri Prajal Sakhardande to highlight on the topic History and Heritage of Goa from Ancient Time to 2019.
नमस्कार. पहिले सुवातेर 18 मे इंटरनॅशनल वर्ल्ड म्युझियम डे ची परबी सगळ्यांक. And in advance we are celebrating it today, and I was truly overwhelmed by the collection, and actually I wanted to give a lot of time to each of these artifacts, your collection, but due to paucity of time I could not do so. In fact, I am feeling guilty about it, that I could not do justice to it. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Mrs. Indra Prabhu Shastri for inviting me today. Thank you, madam. Dr. Vasu Usapkar, Director of Goa State Museum, Director of Goa Science Center, Shri Abhishek Beljavi, Sandeep, Manisha, Gopinath Gaus, Dr. Ramesh Kumar, and so many of you who have come specially to see, to view the museum and for my lecture. Thank you very much. The title of my presentation is History and Heritage of Goa from earliest times to 2019. I will give you an overview of the history and heritage of Goa. I will not be able to go into so many details. It may bore you also. So I will give you an overview, because every student of history, I consider myself as a student of history. I am not a doctor. I am not Dr. Prajal Sakardande. I am Prajal Sakardande only. And I consider myself as a serious student of history. That clarification I want to make. So here, that's my book. So when we talk about history of Goa, we need to divide the history of Goa into 4 parts. First part is pre-Portuguese Goa. Generally, we take 1510 as the cutout year, because Portuguese arrived in Goa in 1510. Now, when I say Goa in 1510, and when people make a statement that Portuguese ruled over Goa for 451 years, that's a misnomer, and I feel it's a miscalculation also. It's a distortion. Portuguese ruled over Tiswadi Island, on which we are in, for 451 years, 1510 to 1961. The rest of Goa, today's Goa, came under Portuguese rule in various stages. For example, Bardez and Salcete the Portuguese occupied in 1543. And Tiswadi, Bardez and Salcete with Mormugao are called the Velas conquistas, old conquests. Ponda, Sange, Kepe and Kanton. Now when I say this, I mean the talukas. They were taken by the Portuguese from the Saundekar Raja as late as 1763. So we cannot say Portuguese ruled over Goa for 451 years uniformly. 1763, Ponda, Sange, Kepe, Kanton from Saundekar Raja. 1781, Portuguese took Bicholi Taluka and Sattari Taluka from the Bhosle king of Savantwadi, came Savant Bhosle in 1781. And the last Taluka that came under Portuguese rule was as late as 1788, Pedne, again from Bhosles of Savantwadi. So when you take these years, we cannot say that the Portuguese ruled over Goa uniformly for 451 years. We need to be very careful when we make statements which are meant to be of historical nature. But generally people say 400 वर्षा Portuguese ने हा rule केले. Only Tiswadi Island exactly tani 451 वर्षा rule केले. So first part is pre-Portuguese Goa, taking 1510 as the cutout year. 1510 to 1961, again with these years as Portuguese period. But with these years, 1510, 1543, 1763, 1781, 1780. Okay? So the Kangon people were under Portuguese rule for around 200 years maybe. Pedne were even, Pedne must be 190 if you calculate 1788 to 1961. So the character of architecture, culture there is different from Tiswadi, Bardes and Sarsi. Today history is a very dangerous subject. I love history. But one has to be so very careful, and sometimes people do not want to accept history as history. And you know what is happening in Goa. Goa is on the boil, and the cause is history. Whether it is Inquisition or whether it is convergence and so many things, everything is contested, everything is disputed. It becomes very problematic. So, and 1961 to 1987, Goa was a union territory. And from 1987, I have taken 2019 as the cutout year because passing of Manoj Parrikar that time. So that way, because after Manoj Parrikar you have Pramod Sawant, which is the present, so you can't call it history. Later on it will become history. So this is the pre-Portuguese Goa. This is the taluka. Now here, this was an old slide. So here this north of Sangay is Dharbanoda. So today we have 12 talukas. Okay. You have Penne, Bardes, Bicholi, Tiswadi, Onda, Murgaon, Sattari, Salse, Dharbanoda, Sangay, Kepen, Kanma. हे आमचे दिवस. ओके. ही स्लाइड हांवें घेतल्या टू डिस्क्राइब द मिनिंग ऑफ द वर्ड गोंय. वेगळी वेगळी नावां आसा. गोंय, गोमंतक, गोवापुरी, गोपकपट्टण, गोप्रदेश, गोपराष्ट्र. There are several names that you come across, including in the Kadamba inscriptions. Govahalli, and in all these names you find one word, one prefix common, that is go, which apparently seems to be cow, but etymology is a gamble. We cannot say for certain that this is the root or this is the meaning of it. It's always evolving. People find more, people keep finding, people research and they find this thing. Even the surnames. My first assignment to my students is first find out what is the history of your surname. What is the meaning of your surname? I am Sakardande. Apparently it means sugarcane. But yes, so I am trying to find out, were my ancestors involved in sugarcane cultivation? I am still researching. I have not arrived. Then I came across a word in Portuguese, this sacador. Then sakal dandadikari seems more plausible. So I am trying to find out. So first assignment I give my students is first find out what is the history of your surname. We find out about Hitler and Mussolini and everybody, and we don't know what is the meaning of our surname. आमच्या घराच्या भायर कितें आसता तें आमकां खबर नासता. वी फर्स्ट हेरिटेज ट्रीप जे हांव करता आमच्या भुरग्यां खातीर, आवर कॉलेज इज हियर इन जेंटे कॉलेज, इज मिरामार हेरिटेज वॉक. वी शुड नो what is around our house. That's why that collection overwhelmed me. There's one section there which is of the gods and goddesses. I wanted to look at each and every god and goddess. Wonderful. Such an amazing collection. Sheikh Samruddin. Yes. So beautiful collection. What a wonderful. Chocolate wrappers are there. म्हाका chocolate wrappers भायर उडोवपाक बरें दिसना. हांव ते दवरता. Especially 5-star and so, and more so if it is purple, I never throw it out. So that's my favorite color. So much of collection. In my house, I have a little, the tiniest museum in the world. It's not, can't be called museum. It is in my house. Smallest one. They just know about it. Okay, so थोडे आता सुद्धा म्हणजे वॉलेटान कॉइन आसा, 2-3 coins आसा. I was showing that girl. Yeah. So it is a beautiful, what I saw is, so what is around us, let us try to preserve that first. So this is in Menkuria village. I request the teachers, if there are teachers in the audience, please take your students to these villages. And please visit all. Goa is not about bus stand to Penjim. I tell my students, Goa is not about coming from bus stand to Dempe College and going back home. So much is there in Goa. In our explorations, so much we have seen. So much is there in Sattari. So much is there in Tiswadi. Amcha island so beautiful. लोक जेन्ना म्हणतात फक्त पर्टिक्युलर दिस इज ब्युटिफुल. व्हॉट अबाउट पेंजिम? आवर पेंजिम इज सो ब्युटिफुल. आय एम व्हेरी प्राऊड ऑफ माय पेंजिम. सो सगळे हे जे तुम्ही पळोवपाक जाय, एक्सप्लोर करपाक जाय. दिस इज अ लगून इन हरमल, पेडणे तालुका. दिस इज पाळये बीच एंड दॅट लगून इज देयर. ओके, व्हेरी ब्युटिफुल. आणि थंय मागीर परशुरामाचे यज्ञ केल्ले ती ऍश. दिस इज ऑल फोकलोर विच इज देयर अबाउट इट. Okay, and everything is a controversy, whether it is Parshuram or whether it is Saint Francis Xavier or everything is a controversy. People are fighting, and history is fully. And there are certain things that we want to believe which are not possible. Okay, natural heritage. हे आमचे मिरामार हांगाच आसा. जय जवान जय किसान, कलंगूट बीच, मये लेक, वागातोर फोर्ट, शापोरा फोर्ट, वागातोर बीच, कोलवा, कॉकरो आयलंड, पालोले बीच. इतले सुंदर. हे सगळे तुम्ही वचून थंय पळोवपाक जाय, एक्सपिरियन्स करपाक जाय, एक्सप्लोर करपाक जाय. हे कुस्के वॉटरफॉल्स. कुस्के इज अ विलेज इन काणकोण तालुका. It is at the end of the Kotigam Wildlife Sanctuary. So I had gone there with my students and I spoke to the people over there. So there was one gentleman who was then 90, I had gone in 2007, 95 years of age. And he remembers that his mother had told him about Rane revolt that took place in Kuske. And ताणी म्हाका मालकाजान टेम्पल दाखयलें. ताका मल्लिका अर्जुन म्हणटात, विच इज संस्कृतायझेशन. मालकाजान तातून त्या टेम्पलान ते बुलेट मार्क्स ताणें म्हाका दाखयले, जे झील सावंत आनी मोरयोराव राणे आनी वाटू देवळी हांकां मारिल्ले पोर्तुगीजांनी. आनी ते मार्क्स ते मालकाजान टेम्पलाचेर अजून आसा कुस्के विलेजीन. आनी एक केव आसा आनी देर आर 2 वॉटरफॉल्स, एक सीजनल, एक पेरेनियल. कुस्के विलेज इन कोतिगांव वायल्ड लायफ सेंच्युरी. We have to visit it. We have to see our Goa, the lesser known Goa. Okay? So last Rane revolt थंय जालो. And सत्तरी, सोसोगड. प्रकाश पर्येकरान ते एक ट्रिप ऑर्गनायज केली, आमी गेल्ले आनी सोसोगड. A beautiful experience. Gopinath was there? Gopinath was there. So थंय आमी हे केले. We went to the top. Amazing experience. Highest mountain peak of Goa, Sosogad or Sosodun. हे आमकां दाबोळे आमी एक्सप्लोरेशन केलें आनी थंय एक व्हेरी क्लोज टू द एअरपोर्ट देर इज अ केव आनी and there is a small opening. So that man took us and we explored it. We could not go up to the end and we saw the cave. So cave explorations is such a fascinating thing. I just love to do it. Sometimes the students come and then this is another cave which is lying in a dilapidated condition. This was a very interesting exploration. Taboli. हे इजोरशी थंय एक अंडरग्राउंड केव आशिल्ली. Again on the way to Vasco there is a place called Izorshi. ती आमी एक्सप्लोर केली. We wanted that it should be notified as a monument because स्टेट आर्किओलॉजीचो आमचो देशपांडे बी आमी बरोबर व्हेल्ले. बट अनफॉर्च्युनेटली व्हेरी सॅड दिस द पर्सन हू स्टेज क्लोज हू लिव्ड क्लोज बाय ही बॅरिड द केव बिकॉज द स्टेट आर्किओलॉजी वूड टेक इट एंड इट वूड बी around his house. He didn't want any problem, so it was buried and we don't know what is the age of this cave. Okay, so it was a very interesting exploration. We released the ladder, electric bulb, we went to the bottom of the cave. And it is human-made. I'm not using the term man-made because when you say man-made, it excludes women. Our terminologies also have to be gender-sensitive and gender-neutral. I feel. Human-made is better. Okay, so this is our very interesting exploration which we did. This is the Chikli underground caves, which are now taken after a long struggle. We got it. Now they will be notified on 5th May. This also we explored. We went to the bottom of the cave, and these caves were discovered by one German lady, Dr. Gritli Mitterwalder. People of that area must be knowing, but she brought it to light in 1965, and she found potsherds in this Chikli. I think they are in the Goa State Museum. First sign of human life we found in Chikli. And then she wrote a paper also. This is a cave we found in TV. One friend of one teacher, Rodney D'Souza, ताणें म्हाका फोन केलो आनी तांणे म्हणपाक लागलो हांगा एक TV cave आसा and that has to be saved because and we reached there and the JCB was about to move and they would have demolished the cave. So from there we called the North Goa collector and this was saved. It was behind the central jail complex. Must be of Paleolithic age or what, we don't know. We found one shivling here. There is a shivling here. This is in Thiri, Karaswada. This again was very interesting to see. This is of Anje, Goa State Museum. We took a team, I think Madam Radha Bhave was the director. And रोहिताक कोणे तरी सांगले रोहित पालवकर की सातेरीची ताणी बुडयल्या म्हणून ते दुधसागर रिव्हरान सो वी I spoke to Madam Radha Bhave and she gave me a team and then we went there and they jumped in the river. He and one more person was there, I don't remember their names, and they retrieved that Sateri from there. And the oldest impression of Ganpati, Adi Ganpati, is on the rock there. It's in Shigaon village, the cave temple of Agrodev म्हणतात ते Agrodev. A Rivona Rishivan cave, actually it should come later on because later I realized that in the book of Satyavan Kosambi I found the date of this. It is Shake 1542, which when added 78 years, it is 1659, belonging to Ramchandra Tirtha Swami, the Rishivan cave. Now this is again the Chikli exploration that we did. Tejas is there. His face is not seen. That's Varad. That's Pradeep Sarmokadan, and we wanted that it should be notified. Goa Biodiversity Archaeology Department was there, and Varad was there at that time. So we now it is being notified. This is the here. Tejas there is sitting. Then when we went inside, again this was a very interesting exploration that we carried out in Chikali, and we are almost successful in getting it notified. Gram Sabha resolution passed kele, a lot of opposition also was there. Kushavati River. And on the banks of Kushavati River, you are the first capital of Goa, Chandrapur, Chandraora, Chandor. In the Bhoj inscription of Devraj Bhoj, the first historical record of the first king of Goa, Devraj Bhoj, mentions Chandraora. Okay? And that is the first capital of Goa. It is here, and locally this area is called Dharmatiri, from where the Kadam kings used to go on pilgrimages. So this is Chandrapur, Chandraora or Chandor. Portuguese call it Chandor. In fact, that river separates Salsette from Kapeng. And this all of you must be knowing, or the young people over here, the kids, the students, they should visit this. This is Pansaimal or Uzgaimal. On the laterite bed, you will find petroglyphs, deer, zebu bull locking horns. Vittal Kaneparkar and Kalidas Savaikar, they had found it, and people of that area knew it. Then in 93 they visited and they found all this and they brought it to light. This is the peacock. You can see the contours of the body. This is in Sane Taluka, in a hamlet called Pansaimal or Uzgaimal in the village of Dandoy. These are some older sites of Goa. We don't know its age. If you ask me what is the age of this, I don't know what is the age of this. It's a human figure. This is a maze or a labyrinth. This is a zebu bull, all on the laterite bank, on the banks of Kushavati River. You should visit all this. This is Kajur or Kajra, where you have rock art. See, Kajur or Kajra village. So many villages I am mentioning. I want all of you to visit it. Tell your teachers to show you those places. This is again there, Kajur or Kajra. That's a Paikadev temple. And त्याच्या बाहेर अशी stone memorials असतात in honor of the dead. हे मावशी, माऊस सत्तरी आणि ते आता कोणी कितें केलां थंय वयर. Some miscreants. We go to the villages, dirty the villages, write on the fort walls, and everywhere we are. This is again Shigaon, megaliths. Shigaon is a village in Darbangura. Shigaon, not Shirgaon. I'm talking about Shigaon. This is a Katur in Azagaon. So I asked those locals, older people, as to why it is called Katur. So एकट्यान म्हाका सांगलें की हांगा एक खुटी मारताले, खुटी पुरूस कसो आनी अश्यो बाउंड्रीज, विलेज बाउंड्री डिसायड करताले म्हणून ते अशें आमी मानी सिमेंट बी मागीर घाला अशी खुटी मारिल्ली. It looks in the shape of a Caesar, Katur. So locally ताका Katur म्हणटा. It is very important that what the locals say about their heritage. Oral history, folklore, all this is important. What the locals have to say, that is equally important. It's not always about documents. The folklore, oral history, very important. This is in Viridi, near Sakri. अशी रोईण आसा आणि मागीर ताका फेस दिला. They call it Sateri. Okay, रोईण. Tallest betar in Lolien. The first fort of Goa, Chandrapur or Chandor, अशी फक्त bird ramification असा. Okay. Many times we have requested the ASI inspection केल्लें आसा to extend their boundaries and get this notified, because these stones are quarried and people are using those stones to construct their houses. So a lot of things is happening. So it is still, you can see that mud. Okay, and ताका कोटान म्हणटा. So this is Kota comes from the word Kote. Kote म्हणजे Kannada word and fort. So this entire area is called fort. So how you have to establish the links to history, and this is the 11th century Shiva temple. Nandi asa, Hodlo Nandi. Okay, so there is one lady, Maria Ermelinda Stuart Gomes. She had written whatever is there in her village. Based on whatever she had written in 1920, Father Henry Harras started excavating, and while excavating in 1930 he found this. And then in 1974 another excavation was done. In 2004 one more excavation was done by S.R. Rao. Okay, for that I was present for that S.R. Rao's excavation. So this is of the Kadamba era, because Kadambas had their capital in Chandrapur or Chandor. Here I do this Kushavati Heritage Trail for my students, and as part of that we visit Visunre. Okay, so Visunre, this Narayan Dev is a beautiful icon of Narayan Dev. The Prabhavar and Kharet Sundaras. Probably of the South Konkan Shilaharas, and side in the Shiva temple, maybe of the Kadamba period. Okay, but very beautiful. It is it is protected by the Goa State Archaeology Department. Again here, Tejas is there, always with me. This is Budbudanchi Trai, near Travari. So people say that if you clap, the bubbles come, but even if you don't clap, the bubbles still come. Okay, so the kids here should start clapping there. Irrespective of that, the bubbles becomes very interesting. Budbudanchi Trai. And the Gopinathचे देऊळ आसा ते मोडले ताणी. आम्ही हाचेर केस घाली. मोडले म्हणून देऊळ. तेन्नाच्या मिनिस्टरान सांगलें, यू डोंट वरी अबाउट इट, गोवा हेरिटेज एक्शन ग्रुप हाका कांय काम ना, आनी दे आर
obstructing. Now they have put up a temple over there. And the rock cut niches which were there at the back, the rear of the temple, they scooped out. And we lost a beautiful temple with caviar. आम्ही इनफॅक्ट प्रत्येक टेम्पल कमिटीक जाऊन वचून मेळटात आणि तांकां सांगता प्लीज प्रिझर्व द ओल्ड हेरिटेज. वी आर नॉट अगेन्स्ट बिल्डिंग ऑफ न्यू टेम्पल्स बट प्रिझर्व द ओल्ड हेरिटेज. नाउ दॅट दीवार टेंट इज देयर ना, द तीर्थ नवे तीर्थ बांधले नो प्रॉब्लेम, बट दॅट ओरिजिनल तीर्थ ऑफ द कदंबा era should be preserved. That heritage should be preserved because we will not get it again. So that is the, but we lost this case. This is the Sati stone in Kolam. We have our Nis Goikas, we have Gauda, Pungi, Vedic communities, and they set up Gaonkaris. There was a beautiful Gaonkari system in the villages. Gaudas, Vedics. This is in the village of Puske. This is in Taligaon. Mustekar. All this you know. For the kids, at the back there is Gurgulet. And in the heat of summer, I think we need a Gurgulet as a natural refrigerator. Water remains cool. I have in my house Gurkulo, Puine, Maiti, Thado, Doulo. Gopinath has this, all this. Okay? This is not the old one, huh? This is the Adla Victim. But I have many old collection also in my flat. What is that? Satu. केळीचे पान, पत्रावळ, पयलींचे आमचे लोक जेवताले ते. आतांच्या भुरग्यांक पत्रावळ, केळीचे पान म्हाका दिसता खबर नासतले. चवथीक मेबी. Okay? So the parents have to introduce पत्रावळ and केळीचे पान to the kids. Otherwise the kids will never know. These are all the ornaments. Kavi art. This temple is Agarwado Kshetrapal temple. It was lying in a